The St. Louis Cardinals fall in their spring training opener, but there were multiple things to be pleased about from this loss in Jupiter. Plus, baseball's back.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And welcome to another episode of Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to our everydayers for always being here with us. Thank you to you if you're somebody who is new. Welcome aboard. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's show, the Cardinals have officially signed a new old right-handed bat to the Major League roster. This is not like some waiver move. This was not some minor league thing. This is a move for the Major League roster. So we're going to talk about that, but we do start today with spring training game #1. That's right, boys and girls. Baseball is back. Cardinals hosting a split squad version of the Washington Nationals. So this wasn't even the A team for the Washington Nationals, and yet it's a game that the Cardinals would still lose by the score of 6-2. Now, if you're a baseball fan and judging by the fact that, you're watching or listening to a baseball exclusive podcast, you know that the final score of spring training games is the last thing anyone really cares about. Of course, you want to win every game you play. I get that. But the most important thing at this stage is getting your work in, not getting hurt, and having something to build off of for the next game, which will be on Sunday against the Houston Astros. So let's start with our 3 stars from today's game for the Cardinals. We're not even going to talk about the Washington National stars. That we don't care. This is Cardinals. It's all about the Cardinals here. So in at #1, we're going to go with our starter today in Matthew Liberatore, the guy that we believe is going to be your opening day starter at Busch Stadium against the Tampa Bay Rays on March 26th. He looked quite comfortable on the mound today for the first time in game action this spring. First hitter of the game, he strikes out on a slider, got the second hitter to ground down a first pitch changeup, had a bit of a hiccup with the next 2 guys. He allowed a base hit on a pitch that was up in the zone, 9-pitch at bat, so got to give some credit to the hitter, Matt Mervis there. But that was followed by a double to right field on a changeup that was low and away in the zone, but low and away, and the hitter just took it that way for the knock. Hey, they're trying to do good things too. Luckily, the Nats decided to get a little too aggressive, tried to test the team's defense, and Mason Wynn's arm on the play, which is a big no-no. Top outfield prospect Joshua Baez did what he was supposed to do. Retrieves the ball, hits the cutoff man, which was Mason Wynn, who gunned out Mervis at the plate by a mile. It wasn't even close. That ended the half of the inning. Then in the second, Libby worked around a leadoff error by second baseman J.J. Weatherholt, who it wasn't like some egregious error. Tried to field the ball up the middle, hit the heel of his glove on the backhand, E4. But Libby bared down, struck out the next 3 Washington hitters, got all 3 of them swinging, went slider, cutter, and slider to finish them off. Final line for Matthew Liberatore, 2 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts on 39 pitches. No, he was not facing the 1927 Yankees in Murderers Row. I understand that. But at the same time, you got to be pleased with what you saw from him in outing #1. The only thing that we didn't get to see out of Matthew Liberatore was the new split finger that he's working on. Never got to a point in the game where he actually needed to use it. So that is something he'll save for his next start. But all in all, excellent stuff out of Matthew Liberatore in start #1. #2 star of the game, I'm sending this one out to outfielder Nathan Church. Yes, sir. Church on Saturday, we can do that. Got the starting nod in center field. It was his home run that got the Cardinals on the board in the second inning when he ripped the second pitch that he saw over the boards in right field for a solo blast. Gave the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. We had heard recently during an interview with Chaim Bloom that they believe that there is plenty more offensively to come from Nathan Church than what we got to see from him in his brief time up in the big leagues at the end of last season when he hit just 179 in 56 at-bats. At Memphis last season, he was amazing. 335 average, 7 dingers, 30 ribbies, 9 stolen bases. Did all of that at AAA in just 53 games. So to expect more from him this season That's not far-fetched by any means. And when you're discussing the options for left field while Newt is out, you can definitely put Church's name at or near the top of this list. Got a really good chance to be that guy that gets to start in left field on opening day. Very good speed. Can also play some center field, which you like. You like to have the ability to have the versatility of an outfielder that can do both of those, because guess what? Victor Scott's going to need a day off here and there. It is going to happen. So you want him to a guy that can also play some center field. You got that with Church. So he's definitely somebody that you're going to want to keep an eye on this spring, and it's good to see him get off to a good start with the solo shot there in game number 1. My number 3 star is going to go to third baseman Nolan Gorman. Now, what's the one thing that we all have agreed on that Nolan Gorman needs to work on for the 2026 season? You can say it with me if you know the drill here. Cutting down the strikeouts, making consistent contact. That's what we want him to work on. Obviously, we want him to be better defensively. We've heard that he has slimmed down once again this year, so that he is going to be a little more agile over at third base. Was a little stiff last year, was dealing with those back issues, which we know can pop up at any time on anybody. Arenado was dealing with those things. Gorman's dealing with those things. So hopefully it's not something that continues to plague him in his career. But offensively, we just want him to put bat on ball more often. That's really what we're looking for. So it's really the same thing we wanted him to get better at last year. And in his first 2 at-bats this spring, he did not swing and miss in either one of his at-bats, okay? I know, it's a small victory, but that's what we're doing right now. And he didn't strike out. Winning, didn't strike out. Didn't swing and miss. First at bat, he lines out to right field. And it wasn't a scorcher by any means off the bat, but still, line drive to right field off a lefty starter, which we know he's struggled with in his career against lefties. Then in the second at bat, he got to face a righty, singled to right field on a 2-0 splitter below the zone. Now, if they really wanted to be picky, which I guess we can be if we want to, but it is game number 1, so I don't see why getting super picky is all that constructive, but I would say he shouldn't be swinging at that crap anyway. It was a splitter out of the zone. It was low. It was, mid shin is where he hit it from, but still got a hit. He didn't swing and miss. Drove it into right field, got a base knock, and hey, that's progress. And that's what we're here for in 2026. We want to see progress for a lot of these younger guys, and Gorman had himself a productive day. So those are my 3 stars for game number 1. Next, we're going to turn our attention to the not so good parts of this particular game that led to a 4-run inning that ultimately doomed the Cardinals to a loss. We'll get into it next on Locked On Cardinals. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. I got tons of buddies who are huge NBA fans, and they would love to get in on this, and they can, and so can you. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2 with the flights, with the tickets, the whole experience, the whole shebang, if you will, courtesy of FanDuel. So if you're already looking at the board thinking about which team can make a deep run, there's plenty of good ones to choose from. This is the perfect time to go ahead and lock that in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship, whether they're going to grab that conference title. It just kind of adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your pick get you cash, but it could also send you to the finals, which would be awesome. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Couldn't have done it without you. With baseball back, you can lock in by joining the Everydayer Club if you haven't already. Ad-free episodes coming your way. You get access to our group chat on Discord, and for the next week or so, we're actually passing out this code, SPRING, SPRING, for a free month of the Everydayer Club. So head over to lockedonsclcardinals.supercast.com or tap that link in the show notes for more information. again, let me put this disclaimer out. This is spring training, ladies and gentlemen. This is spring training game number 1. The lineup that was put in today, the batting order, that's not what they're going to be doing all the time. This was just a way to get certain guys on the infield at the top of the order. That's all it was there for. So don't freak out about that stuff. And I urge you to, not to get overly excited about any of the positive things that we talk about, and don't get overly upset about any of the negative things that might happen in these games as well. It is all a work in progress. That's the phrase you need to know. So as good as Libby looked today, which he did, as well as some of the other relievers, because the back end of the bullpen were excellent. Luis Gastelum, oh, baby. That dude looked good today. Packy Naughton, remember him? Been hurt. We knew he was coming back, finally feeling healthy. Cardinals hung on to him. We're like, you know what? Let's see what you got. Packy Naughton looked good today. Skylar Hales strikes out 3. Austin Love looked good. All of those guys, all 4 of them, threw a scoreless inning and struck out a combined 6 hitters together. So all of that was excellent. But there were 2 not so great performances on Saturday. And we're going to start with former minor league pitcher of the year award winner Quinn Mathews, who wasn't sharp. Let's put it that way. He wasn't exactly sharp. If you're not familiar with Quinn Mathews, 2024, he bursts onto the scene, works his way all the way up to AAA in his first full pro season, goes through all the levels. Then last year, there were some injury flare-ups, and Mathews failed to show, the command that he did in 2024. And the numbers reflected that. That was the real problem. 2024, 202 strikeouts, just 49 walks, and 143 in the third innings. 2025, the strikeout total dropped from 202 to 115. The walks went from 49 to 74. And that was in just 99 innings, a drastic difference that also saw his ERA jump almost an entire run from 2.76 to 3.73. Now, granted, 2025, 99% of his work came at AAA. So the level of opposition was much greater all year. He wasn't picking on A-ball and AA guys. He was at AAA. But losing command of the zone was the most significant problem that Quinn Mathews dealt with last year. Not so much that the damage that hitters were doing against him when they did put it in play against him. It was him putting people on for free, just giving up walks. And there isn't a pitcher alive who can sustain walking that many people and then getting out of trouble over and over and over. It's just not going to happen. And in his first appearance of the spring, it was once again the walks that led to his problems again. He came on after Libby in the third inning, and the first guy he sees, he leaves a changeup over the heart of the plate that gets hit for a double. Next batter walks on 4 straight, and immediately we got drama. He's already got issues. He was able to get the next 2 guys, one on a pop out and then on a strikeout, but the next guy got him on a 2-out single to tie up the game at 1 before getting the final out on a ground ball to first base where Burley handled it. Next inning, comes out and he's just fine. First 2 hitters, gets a ground out, then a strikeout, but then he loses command again. He gets wild again. He walks the third hitter of the inning and then ends up hitting the next guy with a fastball. That would end up ending his day on the mound. He leaves the game with those 2 guys on. Ollie would go to the bullpen, comes and gets Tyler Bratt is how he says it. Because I was like, Bratt, who? Sounds like bratwurst. So Bratt comes in. He ends up giving up a single to Harry Ford. That makes it 2-1 Nationals before Pages guns a runner out trying to steal. Harry Ford was trying to steal to end the inning. So once again, the Nationals kind of run themselves out of an inning like they did in the first inning. In the end, Mathews would go an inning and 2/3. He allows 2 runs on 2 hits. He walks 2. He hits a guy. He strikes out 2. There was a positive out of this, okay? It wasn't all negative. There was a positive out of this, and it was pointed out on X from a lot of the guys like Kareem, our guy Tyler from Redbird Farmhands, that Mathews was actually showing excellent velo with the fastball today, with the heater. He was at 96 consistently. Apparently last year he topped out at 96, the hardest he threw all year, and he was hitting 96.7 at one point today, but 96 consistently, which is good. So hopefully the control issues that have plagued him over the last season they can get ironed out at some point here in spring training. We do not expect him to be a member of the rotation to start the year. You're hoping to get him down at Memphis where he's pitching in a rotation every day. And, we'll continue to build upon what was a very good start to his career. And then he had a speed bump last year. So hopefully things are better for him here in 2026. Then we go to Ryan Fernandez. Now, this is a guy who in 2024, if you remember, seemed like the Cardinals struck gold with this dude when they took him in the Rule 5 draft from the Boston Red Sox. Had a really nice season there in 2024. We expected good things out of him in 2025, and it all went to poop. After his first 11 appearances last season, he was 0-2 with a blown save and an ERA of 11.42. That's not going to get it done. They end up sending him down. They bring him back in August, and he made 21 more appearances. ERA still at 6.23, which is great, but he did show strikeout stuff. He had 27 whiffs and 21 2/3 innings, so that was something that you want to build off of. It wasn't all negative. It wasn't nearly as bad as it was earlier in the season for Ryan Fernandez. Well, in this game, just like Mathews, it was the walks that led to his demise in the 5th inning. Strikes out the first hitter who chased a fastball up. He walks the next hitter on 4 pitches, gets ahead of the next guy, 0-2, and proceeds to throw him 4 straight balls out of the zone to put 2 on and 1 out. Gets the ground ball on the next guy, but the Cardinals can't turn 2 to put runners on the corners with 2 out. He then gives up, granted, weakly hit, soft contact hit, single 2, give the Nats the lead back at 3-2. He then uncorks a wild pitch to move the runners up, and that leads to the big blow of the game off the bat of Maxwell Romero Jr., who hits a 3-2 fastball up in the zone over the boards in right field for a 3-run blast. That makes it 6-2 Nationals, and that's how this game would end. And home runs are going to happen. It is what it is. Home runs are going to happen, specifically in spring training when maybe you're not unleashing your full arsenal. But the walks are what got you to that point, and that's the real pain in the arse here today for both Mathews and for Fernandez. It was putting guys on. It was you create your own problems when you do that, and you don't make these guys put the ball in play, and that was the problem. Fernandez would end his day with just 2/3 innings pitched. He allows 4 runs on 2 hits, 2 walks, wild pitch, 1 strikeout. Velo was down too. It was like I was seeing it at 92, 93 on the fastball. Certainly not going to get it done. So hopefully it's not an injury or anything like that. Maybe he's just getting loosened up. First game of spring. Again, we're not supposed to freak out about this stuff, but these are just observations, creating conversation amongst our fans here. Again, first game of the spring, not trying to make rash assumptions, but Fernandez is certainly one of the guys that is fighting for a spot in the bullpen this year. Nothing guaranteed by any means, and this is not the start that he was hoping for his spring training. But the rest of the bullpen, as I mentioned, was strong. The offense lacked any sort of punch. Accounting for just 3 hits on the day. That's not good. Church's home run. Gorman had that single that I brought up, and then Jose Fermin had a double that helped set up the Cardinals' second run of the day. J.J. Weatherholt had a leadoff walk, went to third on that double by Fermin, ended up scoring on a wild pitch in the 4th inning. Cardinals offense, not a whole lot to talk about, man. 3 for 30, 5 walks, 11 strikeouts, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Not great, Bob. Not great. We saw a lot of those stat lines last year, and led to a lot of losses last year for the St. Louis Cardinals. Other big news, though, of the day was the official signing of infielder Ramón Urias. We're going to talk about his role with the team coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still is sitting there wide open. It's nobody's there. Who am I putting into this role? I need somebody. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what it is you're looking for. Certain skills, certain experience, certain location. They're going to help you out with that. So you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. We're talking about less stress. We're talking about less time. We're talking about more results, positive things. That's what you want. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. So go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day. Thank you once again for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. So the Cardinals' search for a right-handed bat has seemingly come to an end after it was announced that the team has signed infielder Ramón Urias to a one-year deal for 2026 that includes a mutual option for 2027. Urias is, 30? He's going to be turning 32 in June. 541 games over 6 major league seasons, primarily with the Baltimore Orioles. Did split last season between them and the Houston Astros following a trade deadline deal on July 31st. Right-handed hitting infielder has a career batting average of 257, 50 home runs, 215 RBIs, with a 723 on base and a slugging mark. The multi-positional defender has played 371 games at third base, 108 at second base, 61 at shortstop, and 18 at first base. Became the 4th Mexican-born player to win a Rawlings Gold Glove when he was voted the top defensive third baseman in the American League following the 2022 season. Over the past 5 years, he's been on the opening day roster each year, and he participated in 2 postseason series with the Orioles in both the 23 American League Division Series and 24 Wild Card Series. The Cardinals actually had Urias after purchasing him from the Mexican League back in 2018. The picture, if you're watching on YouTube, the picture that I got of him right here is of him with the Cardinals in 2019, actually. I was like, I need a picture of him in the red. And there you go. So a little bit younger there. But they ended up losing him on waivers to the Orioles in February 2020. So he's a new but former Cardinal as well. And to make room on the 40-man roster for Urias, the team has designated relief pitcher Zach Kent for assignment yet again. Boy, poor Zach Kent in this carousel between the Guardians and the Cardinals, man. Urias has been assigned uniform at number 33. We all remember who used to wear that number recently left our team. So how does he fit into the mix for the Cardinals, what they have right now? Well, the one thing that he adds immediately is depth to the infield position. Also gives them another right-handed bat off the bench against left-handers. When you look at the infield, you've got a lefty at third base in Nolan Gorman. You've got a lefty at second base in J.J. Weatherholt. You got a lefty at first base and Alec Burleson. If the infield remains like that, and we all assume it will, eventually someone is going to need a day off when facing a left-hander, and that's where Urias can hop in along with Thomas Saggese and Jose Fermin. All 3 of these guys can play the infield, with Saggese and Fermin looking to expand their roles this year into the outfield as well. Fermin actually started in left field today for the Cardinals on Saturday, had a double against Washington as well in that game. So they're going to give him chances out there in the outfield, and that means Urias can be the depth move on the infield. So instead of signing an outfielder like we've kind of been talking about with names like Randall Grichuk and Andrew McCutchen and these guys, instead, they're just going to move one of their infielders to the outfield and sign somebody that they trust on the infield to take over that other role. So in a quote from Derek Gould, Urias said he's happy to be back first of all, says it's a young team that is very talented players, and I can help them with everything they need from me. I'm ready to go. There were some interest from other teams, and I ended up here. Also a quote from Ali talking about not only the depth that he adds, but the competition that Urias will add among the infield with the signing, saying, I think anytime someone new comes into the room, there's a little bit of that. I don't think you should ever be comfortable in any position. Yes, we want you to feel good about where you're at the same time, not get complacent. I don't mind someone new walking into the room and that being felt a little bit. So competition is good. You know, they don't want to just hand this off to, you know, JJ and Gorman and just say, hey, it's yours no matter what. So just, you know, they have fun. That's not what they want. You know, they want somebody to push them. Plus, you get a guy who's a veteran who's been around a few years and can help these young guys out. Also, pretty darn good against lefties recently. Last year, he hit 262 with 4 home runs and 16 RBIs. He had a split OPS plus of 111 against lefties. 2024 hit 295 against lefties with a split OPS plus of 133, but he's no slouch against right-handers either. He's got a 261 career average against them. So it just seems like a solid depth piece. It's nothing exciting. It's nothing to like light fireworks off of and be like, woo, here we go. It's nothing like that, but it's a solid depth piece move with defensive upside late in games. If you need to make a substitution, we know Gorman wasn't all that great over at third base last year. We're hoping he'll be better this year with, slimming down, becoming a little more mobile over there at third base. But it doesn't hurt to have a guy like Urias who can come in and play third or short if Mason Wynn needs a breather, play some second base, can even play some first if you need to. Good move. Only cost him $2 million. Not an expensive gamble by any means. So I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I got no issues with that whatsoever. Next game is going to be on Sunday against Houston. Kyle Leahy gets the start. First pitch going to be at 12:05 St. Louis time. Thanks for making Locked on Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at @L_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at Locked on Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Trying to make that push for 14,000 subscribers before we get to opening day. Can't do it without you. If you never miss an episode, a reminder that Everydayer Club, it's built for you. Get Locked on Cardinals ad-free, as well as the members-only Discord access and more by heading to lockedonstlcardinals.supercast.com to join the club. Remember, we got that free month going out to you if you use the code SPRING, SPRING. So give that a whirl if you haven't already. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel on audio. Make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. It's good to have baseball back. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.